Just when you thought it was safe to start thinking about 2023, Formula 1 silly season had one final massive 2022 twist in store. 4 teams have announced major personnel changes in less than 24 hours, with Ferrari, McLaren, Sauber and Williams all set to get new team principals, and a manufacturer not even in F1 yet, Audi, is part of this merry-go-round as well. There's a load to unpick here, so as we do, make sure you comment, like, subscribe and turn on the notifications bell, because as this shock set of announcements proves, things can move very quickly in the world of Formula 1 and we'd love to be your guide through the mayhem. Let's start with the move that got the ball rolling in the team boss transfer market, if that can even be a thing, Ferrari replacing Mattia Binotto with Sauber CEO and team principal Fred Vasseur. Ferrari announced Binotto's resignation barely a week after the season finale in Abu Dhabi, and Vasseur quickly emerged as the favourite to replace him. But Ferrari indicated the recruitment process would not be concluded until early 2023, so announcing this before Christmas is a bit of a shock. The initial timeline may have been because Ferrari wanted to scope out more established F1 characters. There are plenty of rumours about Ross Brawn, Christian Horner, Andreas Seidl and even Jean Todt being tapped up as Binotto's replacement to begin with. Maybe Vasseur was always a key target, or just a little further down the list. Whatever the exact recruitment process, Ferrari has been able to act quickly once it settled on him. Sauber announced on Tuesday that Vasseur will leave the company in January, and Ferrari quickly confirmed afterwards that he will be Binotto's successor, with Fred actually already stopping by Maranello for a suit fitting and a photo shoot. As the man handpicked by the company's senior management, Chairman John Elkann and CEO Benedetto Vigna, he already has one up on Binotto by having their full support. Binotto was really an inheritance from the Sergio Marchionne, Louis Camilleri era, even though Elkann was in his role by the time Binotto actually had to be appointed. That should empower Vasseur to lead the team as he wants to, and it's interesting that he's Ferrari's first outside hire since Jean Todt, which is a break from a 15-year strategy of promoting from within, and perhaps indicates that was the only way to address the team's lingering problems. How much time Vasseur will get to make an impact, and what protection will be there if there are still short-term hurdles to clear, are big unknowns though. Directly linked to Vasseur's exit is Seidl's shock departure from McLaren to move to Sauber. Seidl, who joined McLaren in 2019, will replace Vasseur as Sauber CEO, but not as F1 team principal, and one of his first priorities when he joins in January will be to appoint a dedicated team boss. Seidl was announced a couple of hours after the Vasseur Ferrari news, with McLaren immediately confirming Andrea Stella as Seidl's replacement. More on Stella in a moment. Although becoming Sauber CEO marks an obvious personal promotion versus just being a team principal, joining Sauber is a backward step competitively for Seidl if viewed in the short term. Sauber currently runs as Alfa Romeo in a pure sponsorship deal and is less competitive than McLaren with less funding. But it will get proper investment from Audi as the German manufacturer builds its first ever F1 engine and buys into the Sauber team ahead of a 2026 entry. It was always likely that Audi would be keen to place its own people at the team, and the opportunity to poach Seidl presumably came when it was clear Vasseur was coveted by Ferrari. Seidl knows the Volkswagen Group well, having led the Porsche Le Mans project to great success before joining McLaren, and has also worked with Sauber in F1 before, including when it was the BMW Works team. As one of the most highly rated team bosses in F1, this is a very good appointment for Sauber and some sensible long-term planning by Audi. Sauber and Audi's gain is also a big loss for McLaren, given Seidl was part of a long-term project to return the team to title contention and was at the centre of its biggest decisions in recent years. Seidl was able to get the McLaren board to greenlight investment in a new wind tunnel and simulator shortly after his arrival, and he was key to the faith Lando Norris had in the team to sign a very long-term contract. He also put in place a structure and working culture that led to rapid gains from McLaren's late 2010s nadir, including ending a long wind drought with victory in the 2021 Italian Grand Prix. Lingering limitations were still exposed in 2022 as McLaren made a disappointing start to the new technical regulations, but blame for this should not be laid at Seidl's door. Replacing him with Andrea Stella indicates McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown intends to stay the course plotted in Seidl's time. An experienced and successful engineer who worked with Michael Schumacher, Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso at Ferrari, Stella joined McLaren in 2015. and he was officially Executive Director Racing as part of a three-man leadership team alongside Technical Director James Key and Production Director Piers Tin under Seidl. So not only does Stella have extensive F1 knowledge and an intimate understanding of McLaren's F1 operation, he's also been handed increasing responsibility over time. That's probably why McLaren, unlike Ferrari or Williams as we're about to get onto, felt comfortable promoting from within to replace someone as influential as Seidl. Separately to all this is the fact that on Monday it emerged that Williams team principal Jost Capito and technical director Francois-Xavier de Maison have left. We shouldn't read too much into the fact Williams wasn't part of this carefully orchestrated carousel of announcements on Tuesday, as that was purely down to the people involved. The bit that could be worrying is that the other three teams have been able to identify their targets and get them on board, whereas Williams either doesn't have a team boss and technical director lined up, or has to wait to get them over the line. When Capito arrived as Williams CEO in February 2021, it was seen as a key step in a long-term strategy for the team under Doralton Capital. The fact that he and FX de Maison are leaving after just 2 seasons can only mean a significant change of direction. Exactly how significant remains to be seen. The results on the track weren't as hoped for, with Williams managing just 8 points and a distant last in the Constructors' Championship this year. And there have been rumours for some time that Doralton is looking to sell, with some suggestions in the wake of the Capito de Maison news that the ownership doesn't actually want to invest any more money in the interim. So it could be that Capito and de Maison have decided to leave because Doralton's plans have changed. Or Doralton has simply pulled the trigger, having concluded they weren't the right leaders for the team. The reality is probably somewhere in the middle. Whoever is eventually announced as their replacements, what will follow will at least be a course correction for Williams, if not a complete change of direction. But the fact this couldn't be communicated as clearly as Tuesday's barrage of moves indicate Williams is behind off track, just like it has been on track.